cards here, because boy, there are a lot. My goodness, there are a lot. All right, so we're just gonna go through card by card and really just kind of look and see what we got here. I'll give my opinion on them that will most definitely be correct and won't be proven wrong in the future by someone who's better at the game than me. So let's start with a card that has started so much definitely discussion that I've seen online. And this card is Great Stone Dragon, which is an item, 3-cost inkable. Reads, this item enters play exerted. This is very important. Right? Enters play exerted, which means you can't get its ability the second you play it. You can almost view it as like it's coming in wet. And its ability, you exert it, put a character card from your discard into your inkwell face down and exert it. Now, looking at this from a pure effects standpoint, obviously the gold standard to compare this card is Fishbone Quill, right? Fishbone Quill is one of the best facilitators of ramp in the Sapphire strategy. The biggest downside of it is that you have to use a card from your hand, and that can affect eventual card advantage. This card kind of helps with that because you are using a character card from your discard pile. So you're kind of maintaining hand size and hand advantage. Now, there's a couple things wrong with this card. Not wrong, but a couple things that make this card kind of challenging to use and maybe not worth it. The fact that it enters play exerted is tough, not being able to use it right away. Like, you can almost compare it to Detective Mickey and Winnie the Pooh, where when you play Detective Mickey, sure, you only get to ink the card once, but you get to ink it immediately. Where Winnie the Pooh, you have to wait for it to dry, then you have the quest, and you have to use a card from your hand. It's like, obviously, Detective Mickey is better. This enters play exerted, not being able to use it the turn you play it is rough. The next part that's rough here is the fact that you need to put a character card from your discard. If it was any card from your discard, then I would maybe say that the enters play exerted stipulation would be worth it. But the fact that it's only a character also makes it tough, because now you're limited on what you can use. You need to be sure that there's characters in your discard pile, and obviously there's not always, where with a card like Fishbone Quill, it can be literally any card in your hand. So at first glance, when you look at this, you're like, wow, this card is pretty good. But when you really kind of think about it, I don't think there's really any reason to play this over Fishbone Quill. Maybe you can like have a copy of it in your deck, but I don't know. Next, we have more Sapphire. We have Scuttle, a 2-cost inkable. 1/3, can gain 1 lore, but we are more kind of looking at his ability here. When you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, already looking promising. You may reveal an item card and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. I love this card. So, in the Sapphire strategy, right? In the Sapphire strategy, we're kind of looking for like good 2-drop characters. Obviously, we have cards like Cruella de Vil, which is pretty good as a 3/2, but this one might be more helpful. You know what's really frustrating in Sapphire? When you don't open with your Popsicle, or you don't get your Fishbone Quill. This card helps with that. First of all, it goes 4 cards deep. 4. That's big. 4 cards deep. This is almost like Sapphire's version of Ariel from Steel Song, right? Except for digging for a song, you're digging for an item. I think this is a must include in any item-based strategy. You're playing this for its effect. Any lore you gain off of it is fine. This is like, yes, I love this card. I love this card's design. I love what it does for the deck, and I am all for it. I think you definitely play this. Oh boy, okay. We have something to talk about here. Hidden Inkcaster. This card caused some hubbub. 2 non-inkable, whatever, item. When you play this item, draw a card. Okay, a green popsicle that costs 2. All cards in your hand count as having the inkable sign. Okay. This card is very intriguing, and it's very interesting that it's an emerald card. First of all, it is the emerald popsicle, but instead of costing 1, it costs 2. That's fine. Think about the emerald strategies and how many good emerald cards are not inkable. Prince John, the Big Flynn Rider, right? Some of the actions. Mother Knows Best, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Lucifer. There's a lot of Cusco, right? There's a lot of non-inkable emerald cards that all of a sudden become inkable. You know, drawing the card is nice, but it's this inkable effect that has me very, very intrigued. Very intrigued. Some people are saying this is like the craziest card ever. Some people, I think, are really underrating it. At first glance, I think you're insane to not play this if you're playing Emerald. I think you're insane because everything in your hand becomes inkable. That's massive. That is massive. It unbricks your hand for the most part. You draw a card, which is a nice, little addition. I think you have to play this card. I really, really do. I love this card, and this could go really well with other strategies. This could go well with Ruby. Ruby has so many uninkable cards. Your Madame Medusas, Lady Tremaines, whatever, you know. Sapphire has a fair amount of non-inkable cards. Your Gastons, right? Your Hades, things like that. This staple. Gotta run it. Love this card. All right, we have a location. Thieves, the big olive location. 2 inkable, has 7 defense, only costs 1 to move. During your turn, whenever a character banishes another character on a challenge, while you're here, gain 2 lore. Funny enough, what's really funny is like this almost reads like a Ruby card. Like I could see this going well in a Ruby strategy, like when you have your Mauis and you have your Shere Khans or Queen of Hearts. Like I could see this going well with like a Ruby Steel strategy. Maybe like that pirate deck, possibly. I mean, you have good steel cards that can banish others, right? Like your Cinderella or your Tinkerbell or your Robin Hood. Like, yeah, like obviously Robin Hood would go good with this, or that Jafar would go good with this. My only question is it too conditional? Is it too conditional? It's not the hardest location to get rid of. And like, in all likelihood, this isn't going to fire off every turn. Now, I could see this being good in the early game, right? I could see this being good in the early game with like your Captain Hook, you know, or your Smee if you're challenging with your Smee or something like that. I could see it being really good in the early game and kind of cheesing out 2 lore early. But we'll see about the staying power. I think this card is worth experimenting with. It being like a must play in the steel, I don't know yet. Is it worth kind of having this just so you can have it in the early game to kind of get that 2 lore swing? Maybe, maybe. I don't hate it. I think it's an interesting design. I think this can go in different strategies, especially challenge-based strategies, right? Like the Ruby Steel deck, I immediately think of Ruby Steel when I read this card. Oh, yes. Emerald stays winning. Pegasus, Cloud Racer, 5, Inkable, 3/3, and Inkable Emerald. I can't believe it. Floodborn, really important with Bucky. Shift 3. So like turn 1, you play the small Pegasus. Turn 2, you play Bucky. Turn 3, you play this guy to have your opponent discard a card, and you shift to play him, and your characters gain evasive until the start of your next turn, which means that Bucky gets evasive, which is nice. Or like the Prince John you have in play gets evasive and ward, so he won't die. I adore this card. It's such a cool design, and it fits so well with what Emerald's trying to do. You can slot this into any Emerald deck with the small Pegasus. Like, this almost reminds me of the small queen, big queen sort of thing, where you have like the one little queen, and then early in the game you can shift with a bigger queen and it gives you another ability. This card is great. I can't wait to try it out in Emerald decks, and again, Emerald stays winning. Love this card. Alright, so by the way, I do want to say that these translations all came from Citizens of Lorcana, so thank you to them. We have Poor Unfortunate Souls, which is a song, 2 cost Inkable, and translates to: you may return a chosen item, character, or location of 2 or less cost back to the owner's hand. Amethyst Staple. Oh, by the way, if you're playing the Emerald Amethyst deck with that Ursula, doing this twice, and it can be an item or a location also. This card's crazy. I feel like every song in Emerald and Amethyst just reads like insane. Like, you gotta play this, right? You gotta play this. Absolutely have to. Alright, we have our first dude, Aladdin, 1 cost, 1/3. Just obviously there's implications about this. Maybe if you're shifting on, there's that other Aladdin you can shift onto this. So yeah, you could use it for that, but he's a guy. Okay, we have a legendary. Hades. 4 cost, Inkable, 3/3, gains 1 lore. His ability, you exert him, banish one of your other characters, play a character with the same name as the banished character for free. Oh, I'm so split on this. This is like a pseudo kind of shift sort of guy. You can do crazy stuff with this. Thank God, at least right now, there's no Ruby Maleficent besides the Maleficent Dragon, because boy, that'd be a nightmare. Like playing Maleficent Dragon on turn 5 or whatever. See, I had a similar problem with the Trumpeter Mickey from Into the Inklands, where like you needed the Mickey and you needed the other card to get the good value out of the Mickey, where this, you need this and 2 characters with the same name, which like isn't insane, right? Like you could do it. Obviously there's still more of the set to be released. I don't know, unless there's something I'm missing. Like, yes, in a vacuum, there are some crazy things you can do with this, but is it consistent enough? That we'll see. Marshmallow 03, 3 non-inkable. This character gets +1 for each card in your hand. Cool. Okay. Another card that people have had opinions on. Ariel Treasure Collector. 6 cost non-inkable, which, by the way, with the 1 ink staff, you can make this inkable. Has ward. People are forgetting that this has ward, by the way. That's huge. 3/4. Good stats. Quest for 3 off the bat. While you have more items in play than each opponent, this character gains +2. There are people who are unsure about this card. I am trying this. Because here's the thing. This is another bell. If you have this and bell and lucky dime, if I'm doing the math right, that's 15 lore. Which by that point could win you the game. This card, I think, has a lot of potential, and I think people are sleeping on this card. I don't think people are giving this card the amount of credit it deserves. I think the non-inkable kind of scares people away. You know, maybe the item thing is scaring people away, but, like, items are good. Like, if you have, like, 2 popsicles, a fishbone quill, and a lucky dime, odds are you're going to have more items than your opponent. I love this card. I'm going to try this card out. Atlantica, 1 cost location, 6 defense. Characters count as having +2 cost to sing songs while here. Oh joy, more steel song support. Just what we needed. Just what we needed. So you're telling me that if I put Cinderella on here, Cinderella becomes a singer 5? Are we for real? This is good. How good? We'll see. I think this has a spot in the Steel Song deck, especially if there are more songs coming out that cost more, right? That are more expensive. If you're able to play, you know, these high costed songs, turn 3, 4, whatever, like, that gives you so much advantage. I think this card is definitely worth testing. It's good. More support for Steel Song. Yay, I guess. We already looked at him. Okay. Medallion Waits, 2 cost item. Exert this. Pay 2. Chosen character gains +2 this turn. Whenever they challenge another character this turn, you may draw a card. Sure. I don't really know what else to say about that. Here we go. Ariel's Grotto. Another new location. 2 costs, 7 defense. Costs 2 to move here. While you have 3 or more items in play, this location gains +2. Okay, so again, like we talked about the 1 steel location where it's like you had the bash and you get 2 lore. Like, this one, again, makes sense because, like, if you're running a location heavy, a item heavy deck, you're gonna get this ability. So it's definitely worth checking out, and obviously worth checking out with that new Ariel. Like, I think people are sleeping on these item decks. I know, obviously, my favorite deck right now is the Ruby Sapphire item deck, but, like, there's other ways you can do that. Emerald is looking pretty promising in that regard with the new item. Again, don't write this card off. Okay. Bell, Accomplished Mystic, 5, inkable. 4/4, Floodborn, Hero, which, by the way, that's important. Conquest for 2, shift 3. When you play this character, move up to 3 damage counters from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So you can choose itself, I assume. It's like, yeah, it's good. But again, it's like super conditional. I think what gives this card promise is the fact that it's a shift 3. A shift 3 means you can play it super early, I think gives this card potential. We'll see. Dang Hu, boy, I hope I didn't butcher that. Cost 5, 3/5. Your other villain characters gain support. This quest for 2. So one thing I noticed about this set, it seems like there's a lot of more like support based cards coming out. And like this could obviously go with the Alice, the legendary Alice, right? And if support ends up being good, this can see play, but again, it's a villain, so I think we have to wait and see what else is in the set. We'll see. This is one of those cards I could see popping up in the future and be like, oh my gosh, this card's actually good. A 2-drop Stitch that costs 2/3. He's a guy. All right. Musketeers. Minnie Mouse. Love this. 5 non-inkable. 1/5 is a bodyguard. And quest for 2. When you play this character, bash chosen opposing character with 5 attack or more. An anti-Maui card. You love to see it. Maui, goodbye. Maleficent Dragon, goodbye. I think Tamatoa, goodbye. This card is very interesting, and it seems like they're kind of making this sort of musketeer strategy. Keep an eye on this one. It's a piece of removal and it's a bodyguard. The removal thing is massive because like you're getting rid of the big threat, which means who knows what else they have on the board. Could they even get rid of this? I like this. I like this a lot. A new Aurora, a new keyword, Guardian, shift 2. Opponents can't choose your items. Exert one of your items, look at the top card of your deck, put it either at the top or bottom of your deck. It's fine. The Guardian keyword's interesting. It makes me believe that there might be some more item hate in this set, possibly. Maybe there's more cards that gets rid of items. If that, because right now we have Rise of the Titans, we have Benjo, we have that Beast that can get rid of items. So if they introduce more cards like that that just flat out pop items, then we're looking at something with this. Okay, so again, a card that has triggered conversations in the community. Alma Madrigal, all table. When you play this character, you can search your deck for a Madrigal character and reveal that card to all players. Shuffle your deck and place that card on the top of it. We finally have a tutor. Oh my god, we have a tutor. We knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen, that there was going to be cards that search other cards. Don't worry, soon there's going to be cards that search other cards to let you add it to your hand. This is just the start of it. And obviously, like, this only works in a Madrigal strategy, right? But, so again, that strategy, like, it's good, but this is more of an omen of things to come. Field of Ice, I like this card too. 3 inkable item. Whenever you play a character, they gain resist +1 till the start of your next turn. Love this card. Play this card in an item deck, definitely. Yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. All right, we got Goofy again. more Musketeer support, 3/4, 4 non-inkable. Whenever you play whenever you play a character with bodyguard, ready this character, he can't quest for the rest of the turn. So like this one, so he's not a bodyguard, which is interesting. I think he's the first Musketeer who's not an actual bodyguard. This is one that's more of an offensive kind of guy. I kind of wish he had rush. That would make him so much better, but like he quests for 2, which is fine. So like you quest with him, quest for 2, you play another one of your bodyguard characters, which can be anybody at that point, ready him, and then he can challenge someone. Can definitely see use for sure. All right, we have Jasmine, 5 non-inkable, 3/3, can quest for 2. When you play this character, and every time she is challenged, each opponent chooses and discards a card. Oh, Emerald up to its old shenanigans yet again. It's Curse Merfolk, it's Flynn Rider. We have another one of these. It's 5 though. 5? Like 3/3 is nice. This might be steep, but it also might be worth it at that point in the game though, because maybe your opponent doesn't have a ton of cards in their hand, so it makes it more difficult to challenge her. I mean, again, this is like the most Emerald card, so I'm not surprised. But yeah. Prince Philip. Another 4 non-inkable Prince Philip. That's pretty funny. 3/4, can quest for 2. Your other hero characters gain ward. So we've been seeing kind of these cards that are focusing more on heroes and villains. We have the Phil from Hercules, who gets a lore when you play a hero character. Now you get him, who gains ward, which by the way, if you play him with Phil on the board, not only do you gain a lore, but the Phil gains ward. So if hero is good, I sound like a Yu-Gi-Oh player. If hero is good, it obviously depends on what colors. But again, potential. We don't have the full set yet. We don't know how good this strategy is going to be. But like giving another character ward, especially a character like Phil or whatever, yeah, this can see play. Oh my. I despise this card for so many reasons. RLS Legacy's cannon costs 3. It has to exert. You have to pay 2 and discard a card to deal 2 damage to a chosen character or location. I guess constantly having this on your board is like good, but man, that's a steep cost. Like if you're playing this on turn 3, you can't even like. I don't like this card. I don't. Again, who knows? Maybe in the future we'll see this is like a crazy meta relevant card. I don't know. I don't like it. I feel like the cost is too steep. Discarding a card and paying 2. John Silver is a guy. That's all I have to say about him. Vitalis Feere. Okay, I actually like this card a lot. You have to pay an ink. Banish this item. Chosen character gains rush and gets +2 attack this turn. Yeah, you play this card in like Ruby. Like you could do this with like Ruby Steel again, like one of those decks that are more focusing on challenging. Like giving, I don't know, really any card a +2 boost and giving it rush could be really helpful. I like this item a lot. Again, Benja here is just a guy. All right. We have a Pirate Donald Duck. 4 inkable, 3/4, 1 lore. During your turn, whenever this character banishes a character in the challenge, your other characters get +1 this turn. So this card, and not just because of the pirate theme, but this card very obviously goes with the Ruby Steel pirate deck. I just think it makes sense. He's also a captain, which helps you with your Mr. Smee. Like, this card can see play, I think. I didn't realize that he was a legendary. You know what? No, this card's really good. You pair him with like this, and you can get this effect right away. Think about pairing this with the John Silver and with the Smee and stuff like that. No. This card's good. In that strategy, this card's good and can probably be good in other ones too. I like this a lot. Okay, this is the card that I think has caused the most stir. And that is good old Phil, Danny DeVito himself. 4 inkable, 2/3. Can quest for 2. Your hero characters gain Challenger +1. No one's really focused on that effect enough. But here's where people are intrigued. Whenever you play a hero character, gain 1 lore. If a hero deck is good, this card is crazy. Really good. It doesn't die to grab your sword. It dies to like smash or Zeus. It doesn't die to baboom or fire the cannons. Again, with that Prince Philip, you can give him ward. He's almost like a goat for steel in a way. If heroes are good or decent at least, and you run a decent amount of heroes in your deck, oh, he's an auto include. Auto include for sure. Ursula. This card's hilarious. I mean, maybe this has more. It's 2 inkable, 1/4. Singer 4 can quest for 1. This card's funny because like it completely power creeps Sebastian, which is hilarious. And like there might be implications with the fact that she's a villain. Definitely a card to keep an eye on. Oh yes. People aren't talking about this card enough, in my opinion. Mickey Mouse, leader of the band. Support, again, I feel like there's been a lot of like support-based cards in this set. When you play this character, chosen character gains support this turn. Insta support? Sneaky good. Sneaky good. Worth experimenting with. I don't think this is just a card you kind of be like, yeah, whatever. I feel like with a lot of support cards, people are just like, whatever. But if we're serious about the Alice thing, this is one of the cards to look at. We finally got a Prince Philip. We finally got a Prince Philip who's not 4 and uninkable. I guess except for the bodyguard. Another support card. Whenever one of your characters is chosen for support, they gain resist +1. So again, more support. They're clearly making a point to have support cards in it, because I feel like that's kind of a mechanic that people don't build a deck around. But you have the Alice card, which does, and this sort of adds that. We're gonna have the Alice, like Amber, Sapphire, Alice deck. We'll see. Another legendary. We have the Queen. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You can reveal an item and add it to your hand. If the item costs 3 or less, you may play it for free exerted. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. So, great card for the item strategy. So you're telling me if I draw a Popsicle, I can just play it for free? If I draw a Fishbone Quill, I can just play it for free? Or like the freaking statue that would have been coming in exerted anyway, I can just play it for free. I think you just play this card. It's another item search card. You have this with the Scuttle, like in an item deck, which again, they're making a point to print item support. You run this card. You do. I like this card a lot. All right, we have a couple more. Mickey Mouse, Musketeer Captain. Oh boy, we have our Musketeer boss. 3/6, non-inkable, cost 7, quest for 2, a shift 5, interesting, has bodyguard and support. Is this the first card that has like these two keywords? I think it is. When you play this character, if you use shift to play him, you may draw a card for each character with bodyguard you have in play. So like, no matter what, you'll be drawing at least one card. Because it doesn't say every other bodyguard, it says every bodyguard. So no matter what, if you shift him, you will be drawing one card. So like, this has a lot of support, right? So like, naturally you could just shift him onto this Mickey Mouse next turn, draw a card, and we're already focused on support. I'm really intrigued with the fact that they're focusing on like support, the support keyword in this set. It's a hero, so it goes with the fill, a captain, so it protects your SME. Overall, very good card. Love the art, by the way. Really cool. This can be something. Golden Harp. How much more do we have left? Okay, we have a couple left. This card's interesting. 1 cost inkable, 1/4, can gain 2. You look at this and you're like, huh? What? But then you read its effect. At the end of your turn, if you didn't play a song this turn, banish this character. Again, an obvious addition to Steel Song. What makes this card difficult is like, you can't play it turn 1. This is a card that like you ironically would use later in the game. It's like, on the surface it looks good, but what are you taking out of the deck to play with this instead? A card that might not even stay in the field. Sure, it quests you 2 lore, but it's a 1-drop that you can't even play turn 1. Yeah, I don't know about this one. One Last Hope, a song, 3 cost non-inkable. Chosen character gains resist +2 until the start of your next turn. If a hero character is chosen, they may also challenge ready characters this turn. Okay, so this goes with that 1 steel location too. That lets them challenge ready characters, so you can get like potentially the +2 lore. Good card. I like this card a lot, actually. It's a cheap song, so if you're doing this in a steel song, like, you can play it early on, right? Like, you could theoretically play Captain Hook and then play, like, I don't know, Cinderella or something, sing this and then use Captain Hook, give him resist +2. Yeah, definitely, I like this card a lot. And the last card here in this art is something. LeFou, a 3/2/3, can quest for 1. During your turn, you may play this character for free if an opposing character was banished in a challenge this turn. Again, it's one of those cards that are like, wants you to challenge. So again, I kind of view this with like the Ruby Steel almost. You could theoretically kind of spam this card on the board, and he could kind of be annoying because of the 2/3 stats. But those are most of the cards that were spoiled, at least all that I have. So, you know, obviously we are in the midst of spoiler season, so I'm sure there's going to be more.